but I have to assume that it is. Okay. All right, here we go. We're live. And the last time, which was a few days ago, I believe, I was messing about with Graphiti, building out a back end and a front end, and I'm using Vue in general. I haven't created tasks for myself to play with Graphiti. But I'm at a place where I've messed around with it a bit. Let me start up the app, actually. Should have done that already. Let's give it a port. Localhost 5050. And we've built out pagination. We've built out search, for example, rip, last name rip. That, oh, okay, I got to press enter here for the search to work, and it's found those. I haven't paid any attention to the UI here. I'm just playing around. And the part where I'm at is going through this tutorial. The part that I'm at is basic form setup. So I've done pagination, total count, and so forth. And here I'm looking at the code again, and I'm thinking that this may not work with the form library that I was building earlier. And that might be a problem. So, well, I mean, let's see. I'm going to start off by just creating this component as it is. And then after I'm done that, instead of, well, I guess I'll build it out as much as I can given getting to the submission, or I might even just figure out submission a bit ahead of time because I had to look at these the last time, and it seems like they get to submission somewhere down here. But I want to get to submission sooner than later, and I might deviate from the path here and simplify things a bit because they want to get into like drop downs and nested submissions and so forth. And while I want to learn those, I mostly want to figure out what's happening first. Okay, I'm not sure what happened with the sound there. Let me actually fix that first. Oh, geez, Bluetooth is literally one of the worst things ever. I'm just messing about literally with my Bluetooth right now. Which is fine because nobody's watching this really. So I'm just going to take the time to do it because I want, I want to be able to figure out what's happening here. Yep, just taking my time to figure out Bluetooth here. And my headphones, not just any Bluetooth, but Bluetooth in my headphones, which is moderately horrendous. And this might creep up on the screen here, but Like it tells me it's connected, but then also it's not connected. It tells me it's paired, or it's pairing, but also it's not pairing. Okay, so, jeez. Okay, all right. I think I'm good to go now, and hopefully this should be fine and functional. All right. Jeez. Okay. I should have probably tested that before going live, but here we are. Okay. All right, so we're just essentially going to copy this form into place, build this out, get our persist component plugged in here, and then they don't actually submit on this step, so they probably start submitting on, they're going to do the drop down, nested, and validation error. So let's see, this is the nested bit, no submissions happening here, just fetching for the drop down. Yeah, you know what? I might as well just follow it through. Here's where the submit happens. So yeah, I'll just follow it through and see where we go. Because a lot of this is going to be copy pasting anyway. Where did I leave off the last time? There seems to be some changes. And okay, that's just with pagination. So finishing up pagination. Okay. I need to create a persist where my query plugin is. Persist.view. I'll open it up here because I just want to copy some of these things. So I got my script, and then I got my template. Yeah, that's all I really need. And then I'm just gonna say hello here in a div, I guess. Let's div it up. And then let me get this in app. Right below query, I'll persist. And I expect to see below here a little hello. Let me maybe add some padding to the bottom there. Not that it matters for our case here. And then, yeah, let's just wholesale copy paste. Let's not worry too much. There's a bunch of things it doesn't like in the classes here, which is certain things not being Tailwind classes it doesn't like. Let me see if there's any floats, which I want to remove. And that's it. And I don't recall having a plugin that dislikes non-Tailwind classes, but that's fine. I'm just going to ignore those for now. And then for my script, yeah, I'm going to want to get employee and position, and then roll with so in data, there's an employee, and that employee is reactive, it seems. This will be interesting. This will be super interesting. Okay, so let's see how that might play out. Let me import ref from view, and then I can const employee equals new employee. I'm doing this right now, but I'm gonna probably just convert this up into, and we're gonna add some positions here. And really is just an empty new position. And the idea is that when you load up the form, it comes with a position up front. Bottles. Okay. And let's just see what happens when I do something like this, where I just rough it up right off the bat. And let's see what this turns out to be. So it is kind of that object roughed up. And so, yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the treatment of that will turn out, but I think these are supposed to be side by side, like half and half on the page, but for us, it'll show top and bottom, and it's just these three fields, input, 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 along with positions, given employee position, and there should be two more inputs, which we're not getting. So let me just take a quick look to see if there's any errors. Missing prop message. I don't know if this is part of what we're doing. Inquiry. Okay, I must have just copied inquiry stuff that, you know, coming in from the other ones. It's no big deal. Get rid of that. Yeah, it seems like position's not there. So let me see if I can up here just output employee and see what we see. So still store key, errors persisted, and so forth. And that's what we're getting when we converting employee to an object. And we're doing employee.positions. And here we've set positions. So let's also do this. Let's, console.log, our friend employee, really employee.value for our purposes, and see how that nets out. Proxy to the employee, and I'm trying to see if there's a positions, right? Because we started off with positions and there's a dot positions here. Yeah, so there's a positions and it's undefined. And so what happens if I take this out here, make this employee, make this employee ref. Get rid of that. And now this isn't reactive, but let's see. So positions is still undefined. What I would have expected is for there to be a position. Let's do that. What happens when we do it like this? So can I do employee.positions? It is a field. So let's do that. And so now the positions is there, but not when we initialize it. And this may or may not be due to whatever version of spray paint we're using, or maybe the initialization has changed. So let me just see that I copy that code properly. Employee positions, new position. Yeah, it seems pretty straightforward here. And then let me also double check spray paint JS. To see if there's anything about defining attributes. Yeah, Yeah, so initialization, you could pass in things, and you should be able to pass in relations like this. But for whatever reason, for us, that did not work. Let me see that everything is defined properly. Yeah, so it has many positions. Okay, I mean, yeah, we'll figure that out. So what I'll do is make this employee, and then anywhere we use employee, turn that into a ref. Get rid of that. Ref, and I think that's it. Yep. And now when I go back, I expect to see this and this, so just a drop down, and I guess the next step is for us to populate that. So let me just jump straight into that. All right, here under options, we're just adding more options. Oops. In possible departments, and now I have to define possible departments. So we'll fetch on created, and then just populate possible departments. Let's make it a ref, possible departments, and this will be, for now, an array as department. This still doesn't want to import from local, so that's fine. And let me just check this. All right. And then I guess I could, yeah, just define a function. Department.all.data. Let's see if this wants to work. It doesn't, and so I still haven't fixed that, unfortunately. And then we just fetch departments when the component is created. And this should be okay for now. So now when I go back, I should see options here. And if I refresh from scratch, yeah, this is disabled. So engineering and the others will be the first ones. And option value. So it doesn't seem that we have any V modeling here. And there hasn't been any V modeling here, so we shouldn't see any change happening in the component as yet. All right, let's move on. Now we're adding the V models, select, and the other places. Let's start with that select V model. And apparently this should give me the position of this specific one changing. So if I do go here, okay, it's empty now because presumably position.department is empty, so it selects the empty one. And let's see if I load up this over here. I have an employee ref object with a position, and let's see if the department changes. So let's go ahead and just get engineering in there. And it seems like it has. And so that's ID 7, name engineering. So it applies the entire the entire value here, which is the department, into here. So it seems like. So let's just check the options. Yeah, the value seems to be just object over here, and that then selects. Yeah, right. I'm going through this fairly slowly as well because I'm seeing maybe a world of pain in an attempt to make this work with the form library stuff that I was building. And so, well, we'll see. We'll see how it nets out. This is age actually, so that's odd. Okay, first name, age, and then last name, and then position.title. Okay. And that should be it for hooking up our object. Yeah, first name. I guess this is supposed to be side by side or a table or something. This would probably come up here, first name, last name, age, whatever. I think. No big deal. Let's get to view again. Let's take a look at our employee object, which has a first name. And if I start typing this in, I guess I would have expected that first name to pop. Oh, not employee, employee ref should populate. It hasn't. Here, can I refresh? Somewhere like it's like a, hey, maybe if I turn, like, go in and out of it, or maybe if I select the, if I unselect and then reselect this. I thought this part would be fairly straightforward. So now age and first name are populated. So I guess, okay, there's a refresh button. So if I refresh this, 2 and 1, and then if I make this 2, that doesn't change immediately, but if I refresh, it does. Okay, great. So it seems like all of that is hooked up, and there's one thing I left out, which is the submit, which I could just copy. And this will be a function. Await employee. Can I do employee ref.save? Like, it is a proxy, so I should be able to do employee ref.value.save, which is weird. Let's see if that works, because you should be able to do this.employee in the older version of Vue. So let's get on here. Maybe let's go to the network to see what it submits. Okay, so there's a submission with errors saying, hey, department must exist. So let's give it a department. So this does work. And it should, because it's simply a proxy. And here it says we've created employee with ID 103, and we have department with ID 102. So let's dude who's 31. Dude person's their name, and their title is juggler, and they're in the safety. Okay, so it clears these out. I wonder why. There's no real indication of clearing something out here, but it does, it seems. And then it has submitted to, Did I get a submission? Or did I get an error? No, that was already there. This doesn't look like I have anything more here. Well, let's just load up our data. Ah, this won't shows anything. So we'll have to come back here and like search for first name dude. And there is no dude person that exists. So let me just refresh everything. Dude, age 21, person, juggler in the safety department, and submit. And so it's emptied out everything. I do see an employee's submission here, which means that if I search for dude here, I would have expected to see something. And I'm not. I am getting a data ID 104 for the employee in a return. Fantastic. First name is null. Last name is null. Null. But is there a position? Yes, there is. And the included position is null. Title is null, but the department is selected. So yeah, because I'm a fool. In my copy paste, I did not change this to ref, so let's just do that now. Employee.positions, employee.ref. But these, I mean, this position.title should be fine. So let's save that and let's give dude another chance. Dude is now like it's older every time. Juggler in the safety department. So we're still you know, trying hard. And then dude still not. Okay. Calm down. How did I, if this is the, how did I see that working then? Because I thought I filled out the form here and I thought I saw it working, which confirmed to me that it was working. But I guess not. And then if I go into the console, okay, there's an error here. Can I read properties of undefined reading title? And that probably was, okay, we get that error right off the bat. So employee ref.positions does not like it. So we do have positions here. So positions shouldn't be 113. Yeah, there's no 113. Although when I 113 query. Boy. Okay, that's good. So now the whole thing is failing because of improper data. Because they're employees without positions in this form always expects them to be there based on the current position. So likely we've added an employee and they don't have a current position, so we can probably fix that. I lost a bit of track over which. So I think we should be able to do that. And for now, not have this issue. And maybe now if we search for dude, we will find dude. Nope, dude is still not saving. But at least we're getting our data back here. I'm going to keep this like that as I fill out, you know, hello. Yeah, let's go dude. 33 person juggler save. I'm committed, you know. I'm deeply committed. Position has a department. Wow, look at this. Look at this chain. Yeah, I don't think this is going to work at all for the fab form library that we're creating, but I might be surprised. So let's see. Okay, let's, for this one, go back here and take a look at the output. From here, let's go on network, and maybe I can just make this just a little smaller for my own sanity. And if anyone watches this in the future, they can figure it out. Fire this up and submit. So I don't see an error here. I see transactions, just one transaction, which ends here. And then I get an insert into employees, and it's all nil. So all nil and disgusting. Just adding nil employees. I guess when I submit, it empties this out and it submits the empty version. So, I mean, I have thought that, okay, hey, it's emptying it out somehow after the submission, but it seems like maybe that's happening before the submission, I think. So let's try and figure that out. Value.save with positions. Yeah, like all this is nulled out. We still have this employee ref object, and it knows its ID, so which means that it's being updated appropriately. When we submit, it is a button that should submit to this function, and all the submit function is doing is running save. Well, that is frustrating. So let's see. Maybe it's empty because the values coming back are empty, not that the submission is empty, because we can't necessarily. Well, we can see it here. Data is type employees, the relationships are being passed. And yeah, it doesn't seem like we're passing in any of the employee values. And I'm not sure whether this is a function of spray paint or view, or it's spray paint and view combined. So let's try and debug this a little bit. Although I'm not too convinced that I'm going to find what's happening here. Yeah, I mean, it seems like we just submit relationships. There's no employee attributes. Like you would expect there to be attributes for the employee being submitted, and there are not. So let's get in here and let's add a debugger right here so we can add that employee ref and see what's up. And let me just populate dude, which is here, and yeah, sure, let's get a department in there. And submit. The highlight does roll it in. First name is dude. So that stuff seems fine. Title's undefined. The other values are undefined here. No errors. And I guess when we save, let's go back down here. And let's see the next step. Maybe there's some, in the next step, they just seem to be adding errors. And so it seems like that isn't it. However, no. I mean, We didn't really add any validations to our employee model. These are saving because we're getting the IDs back. So it's not as if there's any issues there. And let's see what the next one would have been. Nested destroy. And the glue code, if I recall, is just like auto updating. Okay, there's some marking for destruction here based on remove position. And when we mark it for destruction and save, then that child position should be destroyed. And we can add a position by adding a position to the employee object, and that should just add the position. Okay, this is super interesting. Just eyeballing things here to see that I haven't made any silly errors. Yeah, employee.save straight up. Let's see what happens when I submit without doing any of this form stuff. So what I'll do is I'll just get rid of the template itself. I kind of wanted to call submit right off the bat. Like this. Submit. I can't really await, can I? That's a shame. I can await if I just, you know, have like a function main kind of thing. And then I'll just call main down here. And now I can await by putting this into that. Oops, on that. And okay, so we get straight into the debugger, which is dandy. And here we should see just errors come up every time I refresh the page. And that is because of the error from the department not being there. And so I'm actually good with this because what I care about is in the payload, whether there are any attributes. And so what happens if I say first name dude? Here, when I come down here, will I see dude being populated in the data? And I do. And it's converted to first underscore name. So my suspicion now is that when I do something like employee ref dot value dot positions first dot department is equal to possible departments first before submitting, that it will save if I could spell department properly. And now that's happened. It's failed because department must exist. Positions dot department is equal to the entire department. Possible departments. Dot value. What am I doing? Okay, now it does submit, and it seems to have submitted dude, which means now finally, okay, every time I submit, it adds a person, and it is here, like the dude's down here. Although I haven't necessarily limited my search by dude, I'm getting a dude every time, and everything else is still there because we see on the next few pages the data is there, and the latest one, I believe, comes up front. We're not getting anything else because we're not submitting anything else. Let's give dude some age. And that didn't seem to go through. Age 21 is a number here, even though I made it a string here. But if I refresh, oh, it does come through because it comes up in the next refresh that I do. Okay, so now this is working. Now let's figure out what the issue is with the V modeling. Because if this doesn't work at all, then then can I trust the library here and the integration? Although, I mean, in fairness, this is like Vue version 2 point something. And so there might have been some substantial changes either in the library itself or how it's used. So let's just employee.firstname. I'm just trying to make sure that I didn't, do something like first_name or something. That's if I initialize it. What if I do this? What if I come down here and say employee ref.value? Because here we had modified employee directly. But what if we modify the ref through the proxy? So employee.ref.value.firstname is equal to Lala. Well, let's save. It should, because we did this here, and like these to me seem equivalent. I'm not seeing a bunch of Lalas being added. I'm just seeing emptiness here. So indeed, it seems like this is the problem. Pow. Okay. Well, that is sadness. I'm just trying to think in terms of what can potentially be done. Unless maybe in spray paint there is in the GitHub portion. This last commit was end of last year sometime. Although in fairness, Vue is complex, so I want to see if there's any examples of people out there in the wild using spray paint for Vue. And then again, it might be the case that I shouldn't be doing something like this. So someone's using Nuxt Vue here, and they are trying to see if there's any part of the code that hints us into. I mean, they're doing a model.save, and I wonder whether they're just updating the model after the fact, or whether they're using something like vmodel. So maybe what we can do is something to the tune of defining a form, getting just pure data from the form, and then hooking up a clean employee object and doing a save there. And maybe that will, settle things down. I wonder if there's a way to just indicate department by ID without having to submit the whole object. And let me maybe see in some of the other examples of how people have used Vue, if they have indeed used Vue here in the open examples. Okay, this is Nuxt as well, but I'm not seeing any code samples. Nor am I seeing any links to any libraries or repos that might use it. Yeah, I guess so. So it seems like people are using it without hooking it up into the reactivity system for Vue, at least in Vue 3, because I mean the docs have it working. Yeah, I mean this is straight up code. And this is from a while ago as well. I wonder where the Vue comes in here. I've been using Vue, TypeScript, and Nest. Okay, Nest might be. And Nest? I wonder if Nest is the backend. Yeah, no, I mean, there isn't any clear indication of that. Any of the issues. Let's take a look at the pull requests and emptiness. Let's take a look at SprayPaint.js Vue to see what people have done out in the wild. So this is from like 2019. You know, look at 2019, I'm like, that's last year. But it is not last year. Submit form. Let's take a look at submit form. Okay, and they're using the class editable record.save. And how does editable record get populated? Sync record, store.dispatch, has error text, get record. They might not be, okay, there, I missed the vModel bit. So there's the vModel, and they seem to be fairly happy with it. Look at librarian. But they're using vModel or Vuex, and I mean, that shouldn't change things too much, because they end up going, you know, .save anyway, right? Like, and then do this sync record business, which is, I guess I feel like they need to pull that data back from the server. And there seems to be a lot of code. Which is not encouraging. And let's see what they have here. I'm not sure if this example will use Vue. Yeah, no, it is using Vue. Rails Webpacker. Not using Vue 3. Papow, this is listing. Am I seeing a save anywhere here? No save, just loading. Just loading, and no version 2. No follow post. So it seems like this will load it. But not get us to a point where it will save. The other thing that I want to try now is maybe I can just try, you know, Vue SFC component, and then just try the old format and and see if that works for us. TypeScript. And so we won't be using script setup for this. This is a lot for what I want. That's fine. Define component. I believe I can use this. I just want to make sure because, again, I don't have this memorized. Define component view 3. View 3 is pure magic because it does. Yeah. Okay, this is it. Okay. So here we're going to convert all this into a straight up component, and I can get rid of this here. And let me just comment this stuff out for now and slowly build our way there. So message, and can I do data return message we, and we should see we. All right, so that's functional. That's good. Oh wait, okay, that's fine. I'm just gonna copy this and like undo myself back to having the template. And just getting a closer look here. Okay, that's fine. My other functions are gone, but I don't think that's important. Defining component here, and let me comment this out, and again try and see if this gives me a form. It doesn't, because of stuff being undefined, and that's probably because, yeah, employee ref is undefined. So let's see if we can define it the way it is here. And maybe what we'll learn from this is, yeah, hey, you can't use, oops, you can't use, what am I doing? Here we go. I'm going to change employee refs to employee. Those I don't need to touch. And so I have a new employee here. I do need to load departments, and I do need a submit function. So let's convert these into methods. And I can have possible departments, which is empty as department, right? And that's this instead of value. And the rest should remain the same. Okay, and then submit. Get rid of the debugger. Let's make this employee. And straight up save. Okay, so we're out in options land. And let's see if that is perhaps what we needed to do. So first of all, it seems like employee.positions is not recognized. probably because of this. So if I still do employee.positions equals out here instead of in here, new position, that works now. So doesn't instill a lot of confidence, to be earnest, right now in the spray paint library. So I'm not entirely sure if well, I suppose I could maybe create issues in the library. Let's also quickly take a look to see, well, this hasn't been updated in a while, so this has not been used very often. And that's fine, as long as spray paint straight up is clean, and spray paint, like we saw, was updated at the end of last year sometime. Which again is not an indication that it's not functional. It's just it's pure JavaScript, right? So my expectations would have been that that connection would have been made right away. So let me log here again and just comment this bit out and get some positions in here that are straight up like this. And let's see if this lends itself to any learnings. It's undefined. So it's undefined straight up, like just pure JavaScript, it's undefined. Am I spelling things incorrectly? Positions. It is a property. Now this is this is in the constructor, but this is where I defined this. And yeah, I mean, like this is all straight up copy paste from the code. And maybe I'm, because it is from the code and not the docs. Let me take a look at the docs. They're using fetch under the hood, but that shouldn't make a difference for us because although while I will do this, I guess at some point we're not fetching anything off the bat, right? So it's pure JavaScript still. By default, you need a blah after the attribute and relationship, which I don't have here. Or here, and maybe, like, I don't think that's, no, that's just not. That shouldn't make a difference, should it? And it doesn't, like, it shouldn't, because it's like, it's all JavaScript in the browser anyway. So that TypeScript shouldn't have any functional impact. Yeah, it's all look good. I got JSON API type. Defining attributes. So let's just eyeball this. Yeah, I mean, nothing too special here. And if we were to define created at, we would have to say persist false. Belongs to, has many. Yeah, nothing. Nothing unique or different here. So no, like straight up, it doesn't work out of the bat. Unfortunate. I was hoping to get to a point where we could play around with um, the library, but it seems like vModel connection doesn't work as documented, and it seems like initialization doesn't work as documented. I'm trying to see whether if it's something I'm doing, one way or another. Because this is just JavaScript at this point. Like, it's not related to Vue or anything else. Relationships. Okay. I mean, otherwise, it's fine. Seems to be a fairly straightforward thing. Like, it's just parsing the objects and then maintaining whether it's persisted, whether it's dirty, and so on. And I guess when I do this, we got a position, and I read this is mega dirty. And now we have positions. And again, let's just test this out. First name. Is undefined. Am I doing something wrong again? Oi. Interesting. Attribute's first name is populated, but the object first name is not. Yeah, okay. Well, this hasn't been too productive, unfortunately. I'm just clicking around randomly to see if I can find any clues. Okay, tee-hee-hee, and we see it here off the bat. Straight up. Like, I do have possible departments here, and I don't see possible departments here, and I'm wondering if I've made an error. Oh yeah, I'm just not calling it uncreated, so. Well, yeah. Let me just do some reading on spray paint in general. Maybe there's something that I'm missing. Installation. Defining relationships, reads, writes, which is what we're doing. So a simple save. So maybe, yeah, I mean, maybe we can just play around in a more simpler manner. And I'm thinking, let's try departments because departments are super simple. Let's see if we can't salvage this just yet. So if I go positions, positions is a department, departments. And so it seems like there's just 3 departments. And let's try and add another department. So I'll do this right on created here, and what I'll do is I'll just create a new department very similar to this, and then I'll save it. You know, department with funny walks or something from some show. And I guess I can await here. Department dot save, and this should. Let me see if this was just a problem. No, it seems like this is a problem in my view setup, not a problem in script setup. Okay, and now when I refresh this, I should see. Okay, so this has created a department, no problem. Let me see if I can simplify the whole form here to only create departments. And let's take it from the top. So I'm just going to get rid of everything, just so, you know, there isn't anything here kind of polluting the space. Fetching departments is fine. Leaving this because I might want to come back to play with this. And our submit here is going to be this dot department dot save, and let's not do any, you know, anything in here. Create a new department. We're going to submit, and all it's going to have is a name. And let's just, you know, just get rid of it. Whatever it is, let's get rid of it. Okay, so now it should just be a simple function or a simple form with a submit function. It's undefined now because department is undefined, so let's go fix that. And now maybe I can just copy this here. Let's not pre-populate. And let's spit out department here. And now we get first name. Bring this, look at all this tabnation here. Refresh. Department of tee. Press enter. No idea if anything worked. Checking the networks. Gone on a 2 of 1, and name is null. Name is null. Yeah, so we can verify that it doesn't work. I would be able to get the form's information, create a new form. I wonder if Spray Paint has a way to populate. Like after I instantiate, can I set the attributes all at once? So it's like, you know, I can update one at a time. I know that. I can check if it's been persisted after changes or after initialization, as it is. And here we're only seeing descriptions of sort of single updates. Dirty tracking. Let's see if they update en masse. And that doesn't seem to be the case here, although, I mean, there's something to be said about looking at the options here: state syncing, data down, actions up. Oh, this is great. It's a popular pattern to pass data down, modifying blah, 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 blah. And there is a dupe object to pass data only. Data down. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like there's any indication here of how to... Because what I would want to do is, you know, I don't want to do something like, you know, this dot, regardless of whether it's this, like, you know, open up a new department here and be like, you know, department, and then have to dot name equals blah, you know, dot title equals blah, and then have to do that one by one. I'd prefer to be like, you know, set attributes or something where I can set a whole bunch of attributes at once. And also preferably for relationships, if I can just pass in the ID of the department or the ID of the position, would have been nice. Or if the, you know, vModel stuff worked, that would have been nice. So maybe what I can do later and separately is create a new project, set this up as a simple single model, show that vModel doesn't work with the latest view, and whether there should be any expectation of this working. Yeah, these are all reads, which is nice. Like, you know, pagination works, sorting works, all that stuff works. Statistics works, although there's just one stat really that we can grab. Includes works, which is fantastic. Oh wow, I haven't tried any merging. But if that works, that's even like, you know, that's also amazing as well. So be a shame that writing doesn't work, whether as pre-population or as setting. I can do this. I cannot do this dot department. What happens if I get the raw version? So let's go view raw. Prefer the raw power. No. Make raw, I believe. Mark raw. Raw. People have make raw here. I was hoping to just straight up get raw HTML. No, to raw. Mark raw. Why did I not get Google? All right, let's give this one more shot where we'll do a debugger. But before we do that, let me, you know, create a department here and mark raw this dot department, and then maybe just do a department. You know, let's not do the debugger, and let's see if this will be. And what's the difference between mark raw and to raw again? Original object, mark raw. Oh, so I want to raw, not mark raw. Okay, so now we're marking the object as raw. I'm just going to see if it works straight off the bat or not. So, and then we'll break it down to see whether. I pressed enter and this value remained, which indicates to me that perhaps this is working. And it is not. And it is not. What I thought was maybe that the value that we get back was, because the last times it disappeared because of this and the value that we got. Oh, okay, yeah, of course. That makes sense. What am I thinking? Because this department is the reactive one and save would update the values. But in this case, it just gets updated here very locally. So now let's just do a console.log of this department here, and let's do the same thing for department. You know, half of me is like, am I spelling it right? Okay. So let's take a look. So this is pure department. And I see the name T in both of these. Although I don't see anything here. Are my eyes? Because we've done the save. T here. And now I should see the T here and here. And what was happening was because save would re-update this object here. And because we're not sending that information over to the server, that doesn't work. But so I'm just trying to say but and at the same time look at data. But what if I do this? Department.name is equal to ha. And let me just test this out. So if I'll take T here, I expect ha. So it is T in the proxy, which makes sense because, and here it's ha. And then I do department.save, which should save ha. And let's take a look at the network. No data, nothing passed through. Unfortunate. So let's go back to the create here. Let's just make sure this will still work, which means I should see 2 funny walks. These are all nulls because that never came through, and I do see a funny walk. And then if I do a department.name is equal to we, and I refresh, I don't see it. Huh. And here we're not, sorry, I just, we're not, we're not doing anything special, is what. Back to rights, blog.title. So do I need to populate it with something so I can change it? Shouldn't be the case. So let me undo until I get funny walks here. Oops, and then department. Department.name is equal to low. And that save itself should have updated. And I get funny walks. This does nothing. Let's see if I get any. I don't get any messages here. So this does not seem to update the attributes. Right? I mean, my expectation if I do console.log department is that we will see low. But it's submitting funny walks. So for example, if I don't do that, I expect to see low, but attributes as funny walks. So that's the bug. I wanna, let's see. What if I do this? What if I say underscore attributes? So like, although I know that it's not available to me here, the JavaScript should work. Low. Okay, and save that and refresh. And is not a function. Yes, you are not a function. I agree. Oh, yeah, what am I doing? Okay. I agree. It's not like sorry. Okay. So here I've updated this directly, so I don't get .name anymore, but I do have it in attributes. I don't have any like because I'm modifying essentially what's a private property. I'm not getting anything, but presumably now I will get low. And I do. Because attributes is not being updated. So a few things are happening. Relations aren't being updated on initialization. Attributes are being updated on initialization, but not on the second line. And I'm just, trying to, yeah, I'm not doing anything off the cuff here. Okay, well, I guess that's it for today. I don't think I'm going to salvage this situation anytime soon without getting into SprayPaint's code. So that's, you know what? Let's do it. First, what I want to see is if I could just get into here and see how certain things are defined. That's the constructor for what? For SprayPaint base. And then when we do something like .name, which is a defined attribute, I wonder how that, I actually have no idea how that gets handled in TypeScript. No, that's not true. I know exactly how it gets handled in TypeScript. I just don't know. So there's assign attributes. So I can just dump a whole bunch of attributes in there. I wonder if there's something similar for just relationships or whether that works in relationships. Just looking here at these. Okay. Partial model. configuration. Okay. It's a lot of that's a lot of code. Okay. Yeah. And then I guess the attribute gets defined here, right? So for department, it's name. And because we're doing this adder business, we should see something to the nature of, so it should be wrapped in some way, where now if I do dot name, it should pump that value into it should pump that value into the attributes, and then it should, you know, update things like is dirty, this and that, right? So adder, and adder comes from here. Okay, so let's take a look at adder. Just double checking if everything here is fine, so it seems to be. I wonder if these are active at all. Like, what if adder does nothing? And that's why the entire thing doesn't work. But I think some of these are working. Like, we were able to save positions on, but yeah, I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. You know, what if I do this? Because I actually don't know how decorate does work. I'm just going to give this one quick shot here. And see if this still does anything at all, right? Like, my expectation would be that it does, and it hasn't updated attributes one way or another. So that's really just where the issue is. And it might be the TypeScript version. Maybe decorators work differently. It hasn't given me any errors or what have you as a decorator. So it ultimately ends up defining the field, but it does nothing with it. It doesn't work either way. Okay, so let's legit jump into Spray Paint's code and try and see where they defined adders. Yeah, and this might be beyond my scope of understanding. Yeah, so adder is just this, it seems, where it, you know, I'm just trying to see where specific, okay, so there's that export. So it's adder decorator factory. That's our object. That is our and it's fairly difficult to just eyeball here what it is. And I'd have to learn how decorators work. I really haven't delved into that too much, just, you know, in passing, where define a function that gets used as a decorator. Seems like it's doing a bunch of business here to, get prop key into some attribute list based on the definition, which is a new attribute, so that the attribute list holds in the definition of the model, which makes sense. And this is the adder function. And then I guess when we call adder decorator factory, see, the thing is, decorator factory isn't a function. It's a it's just an object. So if that's what's getting exported as adder, and it is indeed just an object, and it is, it's an object with config, with target, it has because it says, no, I'm not reading this properly. That's the object, right? Yeah, I actually don't know how to read this. Like, are these just functions? Yeah, because I'm looking for like semicolons here, right? And I'm not aware of functions being defined this way in TypeScript. So it might be that. It might be the case that, yeah, okay, so here we are, right? And these are, and I'm more used to functions being defined this way. So this isn't object. Yeah, I don't know what's happening here. Yeah, I don't know. The return here is the adder function, one way or another. And then because we call that function, so the return is this. It's not just the adder function. In this case, I guess that they're overriding it. And in this case, they are returning it as it is. And in this case, I don't know what's happening. Yeah, and I wouldn't have a clue unless I started looking at the ultimate code and started kind of poking around there. If the return here is just any. Oh, okay. Outer decorated factory, I mean, beyond a function is an object. Of course, like it's an object in the sense of a function class, I assume. Which is why we're getting these, I assume. But it's beyond my understanding. And this is very similar to what happened before. Yeah, I mean, maybe the best I can do is just have TypeScript in some version of TypeScript. It's not going to work. And now I am curious what would happen if I was to just purely just downgrade TypeScript. So let's take a look at spray paint and let's see its own TypeScript usage, which is from a couple of years ago. And there are TypeScript 234. I don't know whether the tooling here and, you know, whether Vue itself and all that, like I got no idea. So let's find out. Will it yarn dev? Seems like it does. And still what seems like TypeScript 3 point something something. We're still not getting name in the attributes to appear as it ought to be. Let me do this. Just checking to see if yarn has modified, and then the modifications would be TypeScript. Trying to see if there's any other versions of TypeScript. They don't seem to be. So we're using an older version of TypeScript that matches the version that spray paint has. Although not that that should matter too much, I think. Okay, so that's not working. I just had another inkling of a thing to try, which won't solve it, but it might help improve my understanding a little bit. Persist.view, let's console.log just department. And let's see if it has an attribute list like we saw in the code. We're not going to get that here. We're not going to get that here. It's too bad. If I did a new, I would get this. Okay. Yeah, not on the cards for us. Name is defined here. My thought is that maybe at this stage, maybe I made a mistake like somewhere up top. So maybe this is my issue. Where what if I was to get rid of all these Maybe they do nothing. No, that wasn't true. No base cost for department. So it does seem like they do something. Okay, that wasn't it. I was like, what if, you know? Okay. No, they, for certain, they do something. Yeah, I'm helpless here. Once again. Yeah, okay, so even after all that playing around, um, I guess my best bet is still to create a minimal reproduction with multiple versions of TypeScript and see if there isn't something else that can be done. Wonder if Adder. Yeah, I was just getting into wondering if Adder had options. Of course they do, because I'd seen, persist being false, for example. But maybe I need to type it for it to be legitimately functional. But I would assume that the typing would be somewhat implied. So they do define adder here without the options or functions being called. So I wasn't too off base in doing so in a test case, and that doesn't help as any. You know how like I keep signing off to be like, I'm done, I can't try anything else. But it seems like I am grasping at straws. What is this? It's like glimmer and ember tests here. I'll comment it out. Albeit. So we've tried adder, calling adder directly. We've tried adder with a type. We've tried multiple calls, and ain't nothing doing. The only last thing I could try is maybe like restarting this to see, whether it's, me, and nope. I really don't want to give up. And I wish I had the eyeballing ability to read somebody else's decorator code. And I don't. So maybe it's just something for me to dig into. which is to console.log error. It's a function. Oops. I guess I clicked in here and it's trying to take me to spray paint's definitions of decorators. Yeah, so any amount of clicking will lead me there. It is a function with configure, adder, property key, and adder config. And that's just damn near impossible to read through. Through here. Right, what is this? Like I get this, configure target, property key, or adder config. What is this? It's like it's TypeScript beyond what I'm able to parse. Property key and adder config. So property key I get. First, second, third. Config, we had tried config by passing in the type. We could try property key by passing in the name and see if that does us any good. I suspect that it will not. And then we got attribute options here. And I wish that come on. Name type. What? Then what's configure or whatever it was? Configure target. Oh no, like I can't. I don't pass those in. Yeah, I need to read up on decorators. This, I guess, is that. This is what gets passed in, I guess, when the decorator gets called by TypeScript. Oh, the wrapper. And then something along this is. No. Yeah, I'm at a loss because attribute options are here as well. So okay, well that did us no good. 3 ways. All right, I'm done. Yeah, minimal reproduction, share, and then see if anyone has anything to say. All right, that's it for me and my messing about.